Hello everybody, it's a privilege to be here with you and to see some faces that I've met before and to meet some new people. It's a true fact, I am Cathy Hasler. I'm not sure I'm an expert in PR, but I've certainly been working in public relations for longer than I care to remember. My particular specialism and what I really enjoy doing is working with charities. And although I started off my career working for fags and alcohol, I have had the honour of working for 10 years for the Victoria and Albert Museum. I've also worked for charities, two of the Prince of Wales's charities, one of which I met Bettina at, the Prince's Foundation. So I've worked for the Prince's Regeneration Trust and also, interestingly, Bible Society. So that really is the background that I'm bringing here. It's a knowledge of what particularly matters when you're involved in communicating about a charity. Now, here's the thing with charities that make them different from, well, they're called not-for-profits, makes them different from for-profit organisations. They tend to be driven by values. They have causes that they're advocating, that they want to build support for. They spend other people's money, and they also use other people's time and energy. And also, they very often, particularly in our case, we work with some of the most vulnerable people in society. And that adds up to a requirement to be trustworthy, to be trusted. And our stock in trade as a charity is that people trust us and that we are trustworthy. And just like an ordinary person, you trust them because they have a good reputation. And the job of public relations is to enable people to trust us. So public relations is about building the reputation that gives us trust. So how do we do it for the NCCA? Well, just like any other charity, we use the media, and if the press and television and radio talk about the work we're doing and say that we're making positive change, that helps us. It also matters who you mix with. Even, as I said, like an ordinary person, people will judge us by the company we keep. So if we're mixing with people who have themselves a good reputation, who people like and admire, then it helps us to be seen in a positive way. And another key area is to be experts in the area we're working in. So those are the three key things that I think a lot of charities will use to make sure that they are respected and understood out there in the public domain. Now, what I really want to talk about today and what really matters, I think, and the one thing I really want to see starting to change in the way we all work together is a sense of being in this together. That, like Alex Salmon said, no, actually, Alistair Darling said, we're better together. That when we're out there in the media talking to the press, and I am Scottish, by the way, when we talk, we're better together. It's not the NCCA over here talking about change and research and the need for better availability of better treatments, and the appeals over here saying, give us money to help with this child and its needs. It's actually all part of the same thing, because we all believe that, yes, we want to help all the children with their appeals and journeys, but actually we think it shouldn't be like this. There should be better treatments. There should be more choice. So it's a both-and story. And really what I want to start talking to you about today is how we could just take baby steps towards feeling that we're more in this together, rather than feeling we've got the separate NCCA messages and appeal messages. So that might look like you feeling that it's okay for you to talk about the messages that we talk about for change. That it's okay for you to feel like an ambassador for the NCCA and the work that it's doing to try and change things. And that it's okay to speak for all children, to say that, yes, this matters to my child, but actually, do you know what? It matters for all children. The other thing, it's a bit of a kind of in parenthesis. There is a requirement, I'm told, that to be legal, to fund for a person, you have to do it in an alliance with a charity. So that's just an in parenthesis, that by talking about the NCCA, you are squeaky, squeaky clean. So how could that change start to happen? Well, very simply, you could choose when you're talking to the press to say that my charity, the NCCA, my child's charity, the NCCA, is trying to bring about change. Now, I think there's no question that you are the experts and the best placed people to generate media coverage. You are the people that the press will come to because you have the stories and they sympathise and empathise with you. So they're not going to come to me. The celebrities aren't going to come to me. The press aren't going to come to me. They're going to come to you. And that's where there's an enormous opportunity.
Sorry, Kathy. I just wanted to add that this is more actually if you have a journey or an appeal with the NCCA UK. We wouldn't obviously expect those of you from other charities and your own foundations to associate yourself. So if people are just getting a little bit confused, obviously we can help you with your messages. If you are, if you have your own fundraising initiatives, and we can help have one voice together. But what she was when Kathy was talking about saying that NCCA is your charity and everything like that, that's more for the journeys and appeals that we have, just to help you a bit. Sorry, Kathy.
Is everybody clear about that before I carry on? So, yes, I was just beginning to talk about what you might therefore say. So my charity, my child's charity, the NCCA, is a comfortable way in which you could just flag up that you're part of a movement for change as well as being an appeal or a journey. It's then a question of what are we in this for? What sort of change do we want to see? And we've come up with a 5-point charter that we use in our activities like the Long Way to Go rally and ride and the Cycling Santa ride. We use this 5 points to highlight the change that we want to see in the wider context of all children. And you can see them there. It's to recognise childhood cancer as a distinct priority. Don't let it get lost within cancer at large. Don't leave the best research in the lab. Turn it into treatments. Work across international boundaries so everyone shares in successful clinical trials. Get promising drugs tested for kids, not just adults, and reduce the side effects to give children with cancer longer, happier lives. And those are the messages that we at the NCCA are taking out to the wider world to try and bring about change. And I think what we're saying to you is use those messages if you'd like to. So as I've said, we're here to help and we're here to try and get the movement coordinated, but you have the stories, you're the people that the press are going to come to, that celebrities are going to phone up, that major donors are going to come forward and ask if they can help, and that are going to form relationships with journalists. And I'm speechless with admiration at some of the work that you have done with journalists and established relationships and built rapport. You're doing that. And it's through you that we've met Rob Brydon, and he's helped us. It's through you that we have been working with Mark Jordan from the BBC, who would have liked to have been here today, but unfortunately he lost his car keys. So it's really what I wanted to end this by saying is that we would love to have a dialogue around some of these resources that you have. Because the more money and the more publicity we can get, the more we can help change things. So you'll find a form in your pack, which is a suggestions form, for you to give us some ideas of what resources do you have, who do you know, who are the contacts that you have that you think might be of benefit to other families, to the work that we're doing. So it doesn't matter how big or small the idea is, please pop it on the form in your pack and give it to Mark. And that can then go back into our work at our office and inform what we do. So thank you very much. I hope that wasn't too confusing. And I do very much look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you very much.